I always wait a couple extra seconds just in case. I've got a very long series of trips. I'm going to several hospitals and different locations today. I've already been maybe a third of the way through, but I actually am never uninterested in a philosophical discussion. I've been trying to call this basically topic track. It's more in the feed log category, except it's a little less random. This is Philos of Theos. Philos of Theos. That would just be the love of God. You know, like it's just an abbreviation. The love of God is, you know, they say that in the Bible it says the fear of God is the path to wisdom. You know, and wisdom is what philosophy is, the love of wisdom. So there was a comment, and honestly I had a comment on this one because the man's name is Blasterman, and I absolutely love that game. So I don't even know if he's just asking, if he's critiquing, which is totally fine. Like, critique is completely fine. Philosophy, because philosophy is competing reason. So you can always compete in reason. I pretty much, the only definitive thing that we've come up with in philosophy, the only maxim, so to speak, the only proof in all of philosophy, all of reason, is that something cannot both be and not be. It can't be A and not A. But aside from that, even Aquinas had talked about is really a series of assumptions. So what I was trying to recognize, because he was asking me where this came from, it came from my ex-post, because there's a militant Hindu atheist. Like, I don't understand how those two things even, like, he was basically just trying to definitively tell me there's no such thing as reality, there's no such thing as eternity, there's no such thing as God. And I'm like, okay, so basically you're banking all of your chips, your poker chips, and betting all of it on nothing. And that's a problem in philosophy, because we have something. And, you know, chaos theory will tell you, and entropy will explain to you that, you know, basically everything's going to break down. So if everything's going to break down, then ultimately that theory would say, well, then nothing should exist, right? Like, it's almost taking it out to infinity the same way calculus does. It's just say, like, we approach the limit as x approaches infinity and as x approaches zero. When you have that kind of a theoretical game that you're playing mentally, you have to say, well, I can't take an infinite sequence of points. Calculus is all right, well, we're just going to take enough of these points and then we're going to create that limit theoretically. The problem with the limit of zero is to say that something comes from nothing. You have to assume nothing. You don't have to assume something, because everything is part of something. But no thing is a major assumption. No thing in every facet of reason is an assumption. You have to assume nothing. The same way, even when you're arguing with someone that completely disagrees with you. Said hi, thank you. I'm trying to talk to Blaster Master as a response because I cannot type while I'm driving 45 minutes. I'm going to a hospital right now to visit a sick man and bring him a whole bunch of stuff, bring him food, bring him clothes. And then I have another hospital visit, so I have to go back to where I came from. But anyway, the whole purpose of philosophy is an exercise of wisdom. And an exercise of wisdom in terms of theos, in terms of what is God, what is the creator. See, I like what is God as the first, what I am assuming. The first assumption cannot be who is God, it's what is God. Well, God, in the basic essence, is, and something equals is, okay? Something is. Like, you are part of God. Like, if you extrapolate that philosophy into theos, into theology, which is the philosophy of God, you have to recognize, okay, you can't add to infinity. I don't care who Thanos was. You don't get several infinity stones. You cannot add to infinity. But you can say, all right, we have an infinite sequence, right? We have an infinite sequence. But you are. Everything that is. And why I said that the only part of reason that we've ever, said that we can sort of bank something on is the principle of A and not A. Like, something can not both be and not be. Even before he made a sequence of assumptions, when radical doubt was part of Descartes just thinking, when he was radically doubting everything, he extrapolated it, or basically simplified it, distilled it all the way down to, I cannot think I'm not thinking. It is a paradoxical impossibility. Now, radical atheism, the kind of atheism that is born from a radical skepticism that was someone before Kant. I mean, you had oh my God, his name, David Hume. Okay, and David Hume even had to recognize that faith in a chair is a little bit different than faith in God, faith in a creator. But even David Hume would not tell you that he has infinite faith in nothing. It's funny, there was a silly song, probably the early 2000s, about faith in nothing. And all he's really talking about is females. Like, that guy in that song is just talking about, he's swallowing his pride. But all of that is just the complex nature of how crazy women are. That's not a philosophical, I have faith in nothing. Like, it's I'm trying very carefully to say, all right, I have to be very careful how I look at this. I'm on a nice straight highway here, and I've got about maybe 37 minutes left, but I don't want to take that whole time. But I want to answer Blaster Master's comment on the atheist short just as quickly as I can. And it's funny because, number one, you're dealing with me, and part of the Nintendo compromise that always was, even almost 10 years ago now, was I am the compromise. Like, if you are trying to watch me do anything, you have to deal with me, and that is your compromise. But then I have all this technological compromises, and the compromise right now is that in order to talk about philosophy, I need to make a series of assumptions. But the Philos of Theos, the love of God that I am trying to explain, requires any of us to assume something. That's not a difficult leap in assumption. Hit yourself in the face. Smack something. Drink something. Eat something. Fuck something. Excuse my language, but seriously. You don't have to leap in your assumption to say something. The same way Descartes didn't have to work too hard to think. But what he could not do was think of not thinking. I can't think of not thinking because I even have to think of that. So this moron that I was discussing this with was just trying to... A nuclear explosion could end all of civilization. But see, the universe is an extremely large place. So let's say you could have a nuke that was almost infinitely massive, right? It still is an assumption that it would annihilate everything. Sorry about my language. I was just saying something, and I had to use a radical example because I'm talking to radical atheists. Radical atheists are unaware of the faith required to put stock in no thing. To say that when you die, you are nothing. Like, I was trying to even help this guy to realize, look, you can't even point to your mind. In the philosophy of mind, you realize that before psychology, you have to understand what is mind. And before you understand who God is, you have to recognize what God is. What is a more basic question than who? What is mind? Because you'll be able to tell me all of these electrical impulses that are mind, but they will even tell you that brain death and body death are two different deaths. But they still can't tell you where your mind is. They don't know where your mind is. You don't know where your mind is. You can focus your mind on places, but that doesn't mean you're there. In a way, you are there, but you're not there. But where is there? And what is your mind? This is exactly what I'm trying to say, that you can't even point to nothing. Something is there that's causing you to think there is no God. And why does Scripture tell you that only a fool says in their heart there is no God? Only a fool would say this. Well, guess what? A good philosopher is a fool. A good philosopher, as Socrates through Plato would say, I am a fool. I know nothing. The only thing I know is that I am. And if I am part of something. And if I am, and God says I am, remember again, just the simple basic truth of Hebrew language. God did not say I am who am. God shows the verb am. Who sent me? Who sent me? Who do I tell them sent me? All am. Not I am who am. You don't even need to get that complicated. Am. He didn't even say I am sent you. Who are you? Before you understand who is what is God philosophically? Am. It's automatically a verb that implies I. You can't say we am. You can't say you am. I am. So being, the essay, which is the metaphysical what of God, is the only instance where being and doing combine. And you are part of that. And I know this because you are here. You are. I am. We are. And that's all. That's the end of that discussion. You think a nuke takes that out? I don't believe you. You don't believe me because you think that it's just me that's telling you that there's a God. I'm telling you I am. And you have to deny you are in order to tell me that a nuke can annihilate everything. The essence of nihilism is a contradiction of terms. That's it. The other guy tried to tell me that was a straw man. The vocabulary, the grammar didn't even work. But he was trying to tell me that was a straw man. A straw man is where you wrap the argument up to something easy that I can beat the shit out of. No, I made it much more complicated. Straw men are not more complicated than the original argument. You tell me where is nothing. That's much more complicated than just telling me a nuke blows up all of humanity and therefore everything goes away. I asked him, explain music to me. Explain to me why you know who Mozart is. Why you could tell me what his music sounds like. Explain that to me. He's dead. But yet the music is still here. And why do we care about that music? It's funny because now I'm old enough that my music is classic rock. But I see kids with Nirvana shirts and I'm like, that's a cool shirt. and they like Nirvana. Well, I was there, not there physically, but I was alive when he swallowed a shotgun. But nobody seems to remember this, but I do. He checked himself into rehab about a month before he swallowed the shotgun. He was already in drug rehab for depression. And then he killed himself. Hang on. That's a lot to read while you're driving. Anybody knows where 95 is? Vaticanus? P66? No, I do not. Papyrus 66? What in the world? If you're still here, Jedi, tell me. Change your fucking name, dude. Go back to Jedi. Sorry for the language again. It just frustrates me that when I have a friend, why do they change their name? You cannot change I am Jedi. Translate P66 is Papyrus 66. I don't know. Tell me. Tell us. So that I can read it out, because people won't see this later. Oh shit, there's a cop here. I got my first real six-string. Tell us while I'm waiting. Austria. Oh, you're from Austria? You're welcome. Adelphi Augusta. That's a neat name. So Adelphi, Oracle of Adelphi. Fan Augusta. That's pretty neat. I have to screenshot that because I like the Greek that's in that name. Love the language that you have to play with. It's like when you do anything medical related, you listen to the diagnosis and then you start to break apart. Okay, this means inflammation. This means anosis. This is a cirrhosis. This is whatever. You start to unpack the words by the Latin and the Greek. Okay. I don't think that... Oh my God, dude. How am I supposed to read that while I'm driving? Do it in pieces. When you use the word Humpty Dumpty, I have to keep looking at it, said in rather scornful tones. Oh, that's a different question. Humpty Dumpty, which makes it the master, which is to be master. What the hell are you telling me, Jedi? I'm still the same guy that you dealt with all those years ago on the Nintendo Compromise. What the hell are you telling me? All right, are we talking about inflection? Like if I was to say to you Humpty Dumpty, like Humpty Dumpty, like Humpty Dumpty, like is that what we're talking about? Different things. The question is said Humpty Dumpty is to be, which is to be master. That's all. What the hell does that mean? Can you jumble that in English, please? I didn't realize I was going to be at this hospital this quickly. All right, I still got some traffic lights. The traffic lights, they turn blue tomorrow and pour off their broken pieces of yesterday's life. Well, I can't remember the next line. I'm thinking somewhere a queen is somewhere a queen is weeping. Somewhere a king is weeping, and somewhere a queen has no wife. Well, that's definitely backwards. This is the problem of dyslexia. And then I can laugh at my own dyslexia when I hear it, and I'm like, no, that's backwards. All right, dude. I'm going to go back to Order 66. The Papyrus 66 is one of the oldest... okay. Well, in the New Testament, the Codex Vaticanus is the first full, complete Bible. How many books? Full, complete Bible. How many books? Because if it was the first complete Bible, the canon or number of books in that scripture was not determined until almost 300 AD. cuantos libros en la Biblia? Is it Biblia? God, the gasoline has turned blue tomorrow. Jeans or sweatpants? What the? Oh no, this is one of those stupid question and answer things. All right, here we go. Go on Google. I can't go on Google Images and look up when you use the word Humpty Dumpty said, and look at the first image that pops up. Okay, I see. I'll do it later. I'm almost to the hospital. Get me to the church on time. All right, so I think that this concludes the philosophy of God, the Philos, the love of God discussion on what was I trying to say, where did that come from. But whoever Blaster Master is, I absolutely love that name, because whoever you are, even if you were disagreeing with me, your name constitutes, in my mind, an associative memory of lots of frustration as a kid, but also an incredibly great game once you mastered it. And its sort of spiritual successor, which was Fester's Quest. The spiritual successor to Blaster Master before we made all of these Blaster Master remakes was Fester's Quest. Sunsoft's Fester's Quest. Both excellent games.